Hello and welcome to another edition of the TimeFlies podcast. I'm your host, Dariel. If you listen to this, you're going to hear a familiar voice, but if you're watching this, you're also going to see a familiar face. I got a good friend of mine. I got my boy Rayner on the pod. Rayner, what's good, bro? It's been a minute since I seen you. How's everything been, man?
Oh, it's been a minute. It's been a minute. I miss you, motherfucker. Listen, we got some shit
Facts,
to
likewise,
talk about.
likewise.
There's a lot of stuff we didn't talk about from the last time we talked. So maybe we play catch up. Maybe we don't. Maybe we dabble. Maybe those need their own pod where we just play catch up with Daryl and Rayner. Like it is what it is. But we're gonna talk about
Facts,
we're gonna talk about some shit today. So
100%.
thanks for having me again as always, man. I'm really excited to hear from you. And yeah, but
Absolutely, my guy. So if you've been a fan of the podcast, if you've been listening to the podcast, when I relaunched the podcast, one of the first few episodes, I had my guy Rayner, and we were ranking the Spiderman movies. The YouTube videos are up and the pods are up. So if you want to listen to it and watch it, please do so. If you watch and listen to those episodes regarding the Spider-Man movies, you know that I called Rayner the Mr. Marvel. But today's episode, we are going to be talking about Marvel's competitor. We're talking about a DC movie. We're going to be talking about The Flash. So, again, Rayner, I know you're Mr. Marvel, but I know you like to dabble in a little bit of everything.
yeah, yeah.
So, when did you see the movie, first and foremost? When did you see the movie?
I just saw it. I saw it a couple days after its release. When did it drop? It dropped
It
last
dropped,
week,
yeah, last
Thursday,
Thursday.
15th, 16th. I saw it yesterday, which was the 21st, 20th.
First 20 seconds, some shit.
My man
Okay.
Daryl hit me up. I was delayed, y'all. So my bad. I've been busy with work and shit. I had late shifts. I was like, bro, my bad. I was supposed to watch it, fell asleep, but I told him I was going to commit. So I watched it yesterday, and we're here today.
Yeah, nah, you made up for it. I knew you were gonna do it. I had faith in you, my boy. But yeah, man, no, it's interesting you say that, like, how about how I was hitting you up because I was texting you about like, yo, we need to do this pod, and you were feeling the energy. You were like, okay, this guy is like, in my thought, I had you thinking that like, oh, this guy, I think he was expecting a lot from this movie, and he really wants to talk about it. So it's just that. So okay, when the news of the Flash came, which was fucking years ago, like
Yo,
it was years.
years.
I think it was 2020, no?
Bro, this movie, because I was just watching some stuff about, because I get on YouTube sometimes like, oh, this shit explained, right?
Of
So
course.
post credit scene had me a little confused, and we'll get into that.
Yeah, yeah.
So they were talking about it, and they fucking said, and I forgot this shit was supposed to come out in 2018.
Bruh, what?
That's OD. Whether it was supposed to come out or it got announced, one of the two.
That's
That's
worse than No Way Home.
that's insane, bro. Yeah.
That's crazy, yo. So when The Flash was like first announced all that time ago, everybody had a basic idea of what the movie was going to be, which was going to be based off the comic book, the Flashpoint comic book. And it's basically about Flash going back in the past, trying to save his mom. And obviously when he goes in the past, he fucks a lot of shit up, and then in the present, everything gets fucked up. So that's the premise of the movie. And the reason why I was so hyped for this movie was because I forgot how the audience found out, but we found out that Michael Keaton was gonna be reprising his role as Batman, which, bro, when I heard that news, dog, I was going crazy, dog. I
Dude,
was
dog, too, bro. You kidding me?
It's insane, bro. Like the whole Tim Burton universe and Michael Keaton being Batman, that's something that I thought I would never ever see again in my life.
Shit don't get enough love, man. Shit don't get enough love. And that's what I'm talking
It's a
about. We gotta do this
fact.
Batman shit, man.
No,
Shit
facts. We're
don't get
definitely gonna
enough
talk
love.
about that. But
But yeah,
fucking no, it's interesting though because I was talking about my brother and I'm like, obviously No Way Home was crazy because you got Andrew, you got fucking Toby, and you got Tom Holland, the current Spider-Man. And it's like Michael Keaton is the fucking, as far as like a live action, legitimate, respectful superhero movie. I think you can make an argument, if not, Michael Keaton is the first one. And dog, it's just like that. I think I can make an argument that like Michael Keaton reprising his role as Batman should have been a bigger event than Andrew, Toby, and Tom, bro. I was
I
talking
agree.
about that with my brother, and I was like, why the fuck is this not a bigger event, dog?
Wholeheartedly agree.
And And I mean, you got to put some blame. Some of the blame goes to DC because DC, my brother, shout out my brother, he told me that like DC has done such a bad job with their movies that they need to use Michael Keaton as a marketing tool to get the butts in the seats, which makes sense, and I get it, but it just sucks because like they it was just a missed opportunity. It was a missed opportunity. They could have teased it, and then if you just imagine the reveal in the actual theaters, like what, bro? That shit would have been insane, dog.
Everybody would have lost it, bro.
I
Even the
know,
little kids
man.
would have lost it because they would have been literally lost. Fuck them kids.
Fuck them kids.
But
For
yeah,
real
bro,
though, man.
I agree, man. Like that we talk about right the Flashpoint paradox. Um, are you into like the DC animated films?
Nah, not really.
Everyone knows them shits are incredible.
Mm,
They do not miss, which is why this shit, like when it comes to the live action, it's so frustrating because it's like you do this right every time. And they have so many movies. They drop a couple of them a year. It's been a while since they've dropped one, but like I haven't seen one that I did not like.
oh
And
wow.
that is bad. They just do not miss when it comes to the animated films. And the Flashpoint is one of the ones they did.
Mm,
So that's when I learned more about it. And as you mentioned, right, you got Barry goes back in time, try to save his mom,
mm,
and fuck shit up, right? And one of
right.
the main details that they changed in this movie that was in that one, and it's part of the original comic, is who Batman is in that universe. Do you know who it is?
In the animated movie?
In the animation, but also in the comic book, in the original story.
Nah, who was it?
It was Thomas Wayne.
Bruce Wayne's
Batman's
father.
father becomes Batman because Bruce died, and his mother becomes the Joker.
Oh shit. That's
Yes.
fire.
Yeah. So that's the shit he has to deal with. So same kind of like thing. He's like trying to convince Thomas that he's like, yo, I know your son. This is what's going on, blah, blah, blah. So like, but that's the story that they go with, right? And it's insane. So I'm like, okay, they're doing the Flashpoint paradox. This is gonna be fucking sick. Then Keaton gets announced, and I'm just like, wait, because I thought it was gonna be they were gonna bring back Jeffrey D. Morgan, fucking
Mm-hmm.
stud as well.
Oh, that. Oh no, you just hit something that fucking triggered something. I remember there was reports that Jeffrey D. Morgan was going to be playing Thomas Wayne all those years back. So I think they were initially going to adapt the original story from the comic books and shit.
Yeah. Because he played Thomas Wayne in Batman versus Superman, I think, right? That's what, yes. He
Oh, he
played Thomas
did.
Wayne.
He
And
did.
his
He did.
wife was
Lauren
Martha was.
Cohan.
That's why I'm like, okay, that's set in stone. This story's sick. That Batman is like super dark. Like he has like the red eyes and everything. Like you think Bruce is dark, this motherfucker's dark because his
Sheesh.
wife lost it. He lost his son. Like it's just a mess, right? So it was just like that way to tell the story was just so cool. And those are the things that really makes me like really dig into like the comic book stuff. I don't usually pick up the book and read it, but like I'll be digging in and reading about that shit like a motherfucker.
Mm,
And like just stories like that like are so interesting. So when this gets announced, I'm super excited for it. Not a big fan of Ezra Miller. Once we watch Justice League, I'm like, oh, I don't really like how they're playing the Flash.
right.
Um, but through and through, still excited for the story, the cast. But then, as you mentioned, things start getting changed up. This shit gets pushed back. They then leak and announce Keaton, and I'm still amped. I'm like, oh shit, this might not be. They're probably adding to it or they're changing shit up, but regardless, I'm excited for Keaton.
Facts.
But yeah, like we watched Justice League, then we watched what's this shit? Justice League, the Zack Snyder cut, which was great. Made me like Ezra Miller a little bit more, but still didn't love him, you know. So
Right.
love. Uh so
I wonder why they chose Ezra Miller. Like I
yeah,
wonder what and I wonder who was in the auditions. Like what was the other actor that he was going up against? Because I mean, now we know a lot more of Ezra Miller because he was doing some weird, fucked up shit,
yeah,
and that's one of the reasons why the movie was postponed. Because first, I believe it was because of COVID, and then second, I don't know why, but Ezra Miller was definitely part of the reason. And yeah, I mean his performance in the Justice League and the Snyder's Cut Justice League and his like guest appearance in like the other superhero movies, like it's cool, but it's not what I was expecting. And especially with this movie, because with this movie, the audience, we also knew that like they were trying to reset the DC universe
Yeah.
because Zack Snyder, he doesn't want to do DC movies anymore, so they had to like fix that in order to move forward. And then James Gunn, like I don't know, maybe like 3, 4 months ago, was announced as a new head of DC. So he completely just wants to separate himself from Zack Snyder. So this movie just had a lot of fucking things into it, bro. Besides like the movie itself,
Yeah.
like the outside noise and everything outside of the movie, it was just like you could feel it. Like the whole James Gunn, like what's James Gunn gonna do? How is he gonna connect it to his universe? Is Zack Snyder's universe still connected? How are they gonna end it? Is Ezra Miller still gonna be the Flash? Bro, there's so many questions within this movie, bro, that I was like, fuck, I don't know if they're gonna be able to pull it off. And I was genuinely excited because like Keaton as Batman and just the idea of the story, I'm like, they have a real shot. They have a real shot to fix everything, bro. And now getting to the movie, I kind of want to hear your thoughts about like just like about the movie. Like, did you like where they took the story? Are you like looking forward to what the next chapter is with the James Gunn saga, you know?
Yeah. So I like just to add on to that point,
Yeah,
other layer that I was even questioning was, is this movie coming out?
yeah. Facts.
I'm like, is
Facts.
this movie coming out? Like, and then the trailers start coming out, and I'm like, oh shit.
Mm.
When
Okay, so what time period are you talking about right now?
the trailers start dropping, this is last year, I think,
Okay, okay, okay.
or was it early this year? And the trailers start coming out.
I think it was early this year.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, so it's coming out. Like, I didn't believe it was coming out until that trailer came out.
Right, I feel what you're saying. I feel what you're saying.
Trailer start coming out, and I'm just like, okay, cool. I still have those questions of like, okay, Gunn is now running the show at DC. Um, I know they're trying to get rid of the old DCEU.
Yeah,
How are they going to connect it? This is multiverse. So
yeah.
what's he going to do with it? Like he can still kind of include them or just leave it open, right? Um, but trailers start dropping, and I'm getting excited again, and I'm like, okay, cool. And then I see Keaton, and I'm just like, oh, let's go.
Crazy dog.
And yeah, I'm just like getting super amped. But as it gets closer, they start having like the people, the celebrities who saw the movie apparently. And
Yeah,
they're like,
Tom.
Tom Cruise says this is the best movie. Stephen King, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? They lost me with that. I'm just like,
So much shit, dog.
they started losing me with that because I'm like, I'm not big on like reviews. So like it's funny that I do reviews, but I'm just like, bro, like I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I feel what you're
that's
saying. I feel
why
what you're
that's
saying.
why I like our conversation. We try to be like as honest, as thorough as possible to like be very specific with what we feel and think about,
100%.
right? So like when it's just like a blank statement like that, I'm just like, this those are just texts. Like I haven't seen these people actually say this in an interview where they can kind of explain a little bit more. So like those reviews kind of give me like a little, they don't really
Yeah,
give me
they
the,
turn you off. Yeah.
so then they start losing me there, but I'm still kind of excited, right? Mainly because of Keaton.
Right, me too.
Mainly because of Keaton. And yeah, like I was excited to see. I was gonna see it first day, first week, and everything like that. But you know, shit just starts happening. And also like just like my hype went down a little bit.
Did you watch the trailers? Because I know if the
Yes,
audience remembers, you did. What
I
happened? Why'd
I
you change it up?
avoided I avoided one or two, like the last one or two, I think, for as long as I could, but they started playing it during the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I was just like, "Damn, I kind of want to see Batman. Let me see." And I watched it and I regret it. And we're gonna get into why I regret it.
Really? Okay. The movie starts, and initially, the very first impression that I get of the movie is because the opening, I guess, scene before the title credits of the Flash comes on is like the Flash saving the babies from the hospital. I
No.
believe so. Or am I
Mm,
bugging?
yeah.
Go ahead, help me out.
Because this I actually thought this was pretty funny that they did this. Remember, he goes into the shop to get the sandwich,
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And Shorty that was there, that he's like, oh, she always has it ready for me. He's like, she's not here, so you gotta wait and get it for me. He goes into the bathroom, comes out, he changes, and he's about to run, and the girls recognize him. Remember?
Oh yeah, yeah, I remember that. And they throw like
And
a
the
sticker
logo's
ball
about
at
to
him.
come on, but when they recognize him, it goes away. And he's like, yo, give me that ball, blah, blah. And then they have their little interaction, and then he does it again, and then the logo comes back up. I thought that
Oh,
was,
oh,
I
I didn't even
enjoyed that.
peep that. I didn't even
Yeah,
peep
it
that.
goes away, and then it comes back when he does it again. I'm like, oh, that was actually pretty funny. I enjoyed that.
Oh shit.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, go ahead, continue. Then
Yeah,
that's when he runs to save the babies.
to save the babies because Bruce Wayne, he calls him and he's like, "Yo, I'm dealing with something. I need you to go to the hospital because I can't be there." And then
Mhm.
Flash is kind of like he's just venting to Alfred about how he feels like he's like the garbage man of Justice League. But whatever, he gets to the hospital and he's saving all these babies. And again,
Shower.
the impression that I got was that, yo, they are trying really fucking hard to just like get your eyes stuck on the screen because they're incorporating so much CGI and like I mean it's babies, so you can't use you can't use real babies, I understand. But it's just like that sequence, just that scene alone of Flash saving the babies from the blowing up hospital, that sequence alone is like it's more than 5 minutes.
Yeah,
It might be like 10 minutes. So the whole 10 minutes is just purely CGI. And I'm like, I was like, okay, like all right, like let's see where this goes. I wasn't worried, but I was like, okay, like wow, they're trying to make an impression on you.
that to your point, like that scene is pretty long, and then they start incorporating Ben Affleck. Remember? Because then you got the Batman scenes. He's doing the chase while Barry's saving the babies from the hospital and shit like that. Then
Right.
they meet up and shit like that.
He meets up
And then
with
you get
Batman and Wonder Woman on the bridge for like a hot second.
yeah. How did you feel about that?
It was
Right,
cool. It was
right.
cool, but it's like, okay, how'd you feel about it?
I enjoyed the Batman though.
Ben Affleck.
Mike was cool. He did some cool shit, like when he fucking crashed into the truck and he just flew out that shit, like with the spin, and then he was gliding. I let out a good old woo. I was in there by myself, and I was like, woo. So, but yeah, that was cool. But I didn't like the baby shower scene.
Mm,
I didn't like it. um, I think you're right in saying that they were trying to like really grab your attention and
yeah.
make it a spectacle. But I think they should have relied a little bit more on what happened the last time we saw him. It's a little,
Mm,
like kind of pick it up, because even though the the DC shit is kind of getting dismantled and they're figuring shit out, like you still, this character, we know him from this. So we should kind of still get a continuation of him from there, right? Whether that's the original Justice League or the Zack Snyder one, which kind of
mm.
like did him a little better in my opinion.
Did
I
him a
enjoyed
lot more justice, yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed him a lot more in that because he wasn't annoying as much. And I wasn't trying to figure him out. Maybe that helped the fact that they kind of like did him a little different in the Zack Snyder one. Maybe if that was the original one, I wouldn't have had that opinion on him, right? If that makes
Right.
sense.
No, it makes sense. It makes sense.
So that's what that like it kind of just went into that. And I was enjoying the little sandwich shop stuff and the little when he was talking to the girls. But then once he got there, I was just like, all right, when is this gonna end? That's what I was thinking. I was like, when
Damn.
is this scene gonna end?
Yeah, yeah.
Just kept going, and I'm like, he's kind of trying to figure it out still, and I'm just like, he should kind of already know what he's finna do. Like, show him as like, like he figured it out at least, so that when it leads into the rest of the movie, he doesn't have it figured out.
No, I feel
Like,
you.
show him as like, yo, I got this shit figured out. Finna save these babies. Y'all keep sleeping on me. I'm not no garbage man. Like, put me out in the field. Like kind of like also Tom Holland shit with Spiderman, right? Like he's like, put me
Yeah.
out in the field. But as soon as he shows up, like he gets confident, he knows his value, and he's not really questioning it anymore. But he was still like questioning his kind of like abilities and shit like that,
I feel you.
while being conflicted of like, I'm more than what y'all have me doing. It kind of didn't really make sense to me.
Mm,
But also it was just like CGI overload. It wasn't funny.
No, no, no. Hold on, hold on. I gotta give you a little bit of pushback. Okay, so do you remember in the middle of that CGI sequence where
Mhm.
like he's running from all these different babies, but he's running low on energy.
Yes,
He's running
yes.
low on energy, and I thought one of the funniest parts was that like he's like getting ready to like it looks like he's getting ready to grab a baby from the air, but he just like literally punches a fucking the vending machine. He
Oh, yeah,
punches the
yeah,
vending
yeah,
machine.
yeah.
That shit had me dying,
It
bro.
did have little moments because that when he grabbed the food and shit like that was funny. When I saw the dog, that shit kind of had me weak too because I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
fucking dog, whose dog?"
They're just
Just
throwing
like the
everything at you,
randomness.
bro.
But when I say like it wasn't funny, it was really like the other shit. Like that lady was not funny, bro. She just kept screaming, and I was mad annoyed.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, 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 yeah.
I was
Just
like, yo, why are you screaming? Like, it's not funny.
I feel in my experience, the audience that I was with, I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I felt like they were like just laughing a little too hard, as if like they wanted the movie to succeed. I might be reading way too much into it, but like it just seemed like the laughing wasn't genuine, and they were just like trying to laugh because like they really wanted this movie to succeed.
Were
So
they
I don't know.
laughing at all those beats?
They were like, especially the fucking girl just screaming randomly. Um, the baby, not even him punching through the vending machine, but just like what he was doing with the babies, throwing the baby in the microwave, and
Yeah.
like and getting the fucking the rolling table and like making them land on the rolling table. It was just like I don't know, the laughing they were laughing at everything, bro, and I was like, okay, like I don't
Did
really
that
see the
last
funny.
throughout the movie, or was that like really in the beginning that they were doing that? I'm
No, it was
curious.
it was throughout the whole movie, bro. Like the little jokes that Ezra Miller would make, it was like they were like dying. I'm like, what the fuck?
No,
Like
at least a hit for somebody, but shit.
facts. I guess I
But
guess those are DC heads, but
right.
sorry to interrupt.
No, no, you're good. So then, yeah, we get the little cameo from Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. Batman makes a little joke. Terrible. He's at his childhood home, and he kind of just bolts. Like we've all been there. We were little kids, or you're angry. You just like you either scream or you just run away.
Right,
So he
right,
runs
right.
away. I thought that was cool. He runs away, and he just is so angry and sad that he just runs.
Yeah, so he's so angry from being outside of his childhood home and having those memories that he's
Mhm.
running so fast that like he's experiencing that him literally going back in time, and
Yeah,
he's realizing that he's faster than the speed of light. And that's when he goes talk to Bruce and he tells him what he discovered. And that's when Bruce is telling him like, hey, like you need to be careful. Like, yeah, you can do it, great. But if you actually do it, you're gonna fuck a lot of shit up.
yeah,
And Barry takes that into consideration, but then obviously he doesn't listen because then there would be no movie.
right.
And he actually we're fast forwarding a lot, but it's fine. But then he actually does it. He goes back in time, and when he goes back in time,
He gets pushed out. Remember, I do want to address real quick. I didn't really like that little the sphere shit that he was running in. That
bro,
was
that
kind of lame.
that CGI was fucking
Yeah,
horrible, dog.
really bad. It was really bad. But I try to like remove that, and I'm just like looking
Right.
at the details, but it's all like it's just repetitive. It's the same things spun around. I'm just like, I really don't like this atmosphere. Like he could have done something cooler, especially after what they did in the Zack Snyder one when he did the Speed Force. I'm like, that was fucking sick.
Mm.
So I'm just like, all right, I don't like that, but hopefully they don't use it again. But
Add that
my
to the
disappointment,
cons list,
to my disappointment, they used it over and over. So,
bro.
uh,
I do like how they kind of played on that because when our Barry goes back in time and then he meets the present Barry of that time, you can see that there is a little bit of a difference as far as like
yes,
maturity. The
yes,
our Barry, when we going into actually the movie Flash, our Barry, yes, he's still immature, he's still obnoxious, he's still all these like annoying traits that he has, but it's still but there's still a level of maturity within those things, if that makes any sense. So you see the drastic difference between our Barry and the present Barry. The present Barry is like you said, he was like 18, but he like everything that's annoying about Barry, it's like on 10. It's
yeah.
like on a level 10. He's just like he just doesn't shut up. He's like just he needs the attention. He's obnoxious. And it's like, bruh, like this is what you were in fucking the Joss Whedon Justice League. That's what I was thinking through
But
in
you
my
know the thing
mind.
is because like you bring up a really good point, and for a second I was thinking, damn, maybe that was them. Like while you were talking, I'm like, okay, this is a good point. Maybe that was them kind of showing this is who he was, and this is why we met him this way, and how he became that way. But no, it doesn't fucking make sense because that's not even him.
So, yeah, yeah.
It's a different year. This nigga has his parents. He has his parents. Like, so
It's
how
just
is
yeah,
it still this? Like, it did it. Like, it could have been so much better.
so much better.
It could have
But
been so much better. But like to your point, like that was it did work out. Like it
I
showed
appreciated it.
our Barry in a
Yeah,
much better like light.
right.
Made me kind of like him a little bit even more.
It did.
I
Me
was like,
too.
oh shit, like he's not like he knows what he's doing. He wants to like he's very like specific. He's intentional. Like he's hitting all the beats, right? Like this is what I came here to do. This is what we're gonna do. Like come with me. This is what we're doing. Like all that confidence that I was talking about, he should have shown in the beginning,
Right,
started showing up throughout the movie, right?
right.
Um,
So just to piggyback off that, yeah. So then our Barry meets present Barry, and they actually interact, which I thought was kind of crazy. They interact a lot throughout the rest of the movie. They're just interacting a lot between them too. And our Barry is basically teaching the present Barry how to become the Flash.
yeah.
He's telling him like this is when you get your powers, this is exactly how you get your powers. You're standing here, your hand is here, and you need to get your powers because if you don't get your powers, then you're not able to. It's like it's a mind fuck, bro. It's a mind fuck. But our Barry, he's being the mentor to present Barry. He's teaching him the ways in order to get to become the Flash. But then he sees that in the time that our Barry went back to is General Zod.
Mm-hmm.
He lands on Earth, and that's where he wants to find Superman. Um,
He
but
reaches
then
out to like Arthur Curry's father. He looks to see if Diana is around,
right,
Cyborg, all that shit. So
yeah, he's looking assistant.
resources.
He's looking to get assistance from the Justice League, but he's realizing that in the time that he's in, there's no Aquaman, there's no Wonder Woman, there's no Cyborg, but there is a Batman. There is a Batman.
Fucking is a Batman, you motherfuckers.
And he goes to the
Batman,
mansion.
baby.
He goes to the fucking mansion. And oh,
Yeah.
did you peep that when they walk into the mansion, it's literally the same room as in part one when he was dancing with when they were having like a party at Michael Keaton's mansion. It's the same fucking room, bro. I was
Oh,
hyped. I was geeked,
I reckon
bro.
because I rewatched Keaton's joints a couple months ago. And I was just
Right.
like, damn, I haven't seen him in so long. I love these movies. So like once they went in there, I was like, oh
That was
damn.
crazy.
I
That
can't
was,
imagine like, oh man, bro. Like the people who were like, because them shits, the first one came out, I wasn't born yet. So I was like a little bit older when I saw it.
of
But like
course.
people who were like geeked back then, I can't imagine that feeling. Like
I
what we're
know,
talking
right?
about right now when they saw that room.
Yeah. So they walk into the mansion and they're looking for Bruce, but Bruce is nowhere to be found. And then they go into the kitchen, and next thing you know, some guy just like jumps out of nowhere, and he's like
Tom
beating
Hanks from Castaway.
literally Tom Hanks from Castaway with a big ass beard looking like Santa Claus. He jumps out of a closet, he starts beating the two Barrys up, and finally we get to see that it's actually Michael Keaton. But we realize that he's retired as Batman because Gotham City, up until Zod got there, was actually a safe place.
Yep.
That's
He
what he
said they didn't
tells.
need him anymore. He's like, Gotham has been good. They don't need me. Like I'm great. And that was a cool little detail too, because it's just like you saw like his house is just like there's nothing there. Like he doesn't care about himself. Like it shows you how much Batman like means to him.
Facts. And you know what? You know what I kind of wish that they did? It might have been a little too much, but the thought ran through my mind. I was like, damn, I wish we had like a maybe like a photo of like Alfred, but the OG Alfred from like literally part one, two, and
Yeah, man.
three.
'Cause he passed away, man.
Yeah, I figured, but I
Should
was
have had a
like,
little something for him. That's a
it's
fact.
I mean, it's cool that they didn't, but it would have been nice, a nice little Easter egg. Um, but yeah, so then Michael Keaton, he gets his he beats up the two Flashes and they stop fighting. And that's when we realize that's when Michael Keaton he tells them about Gotham being a safe place. But the Barrys, our Barry is telling Michael Keaton that he's from a different time, and in that time there's a Justice League, and your his Batman is like a mentor to him, and he's trying to get Michael Keaton to jump on board to help him find the Superman in the present. Dude, this shit is all over the place, bro. But we're trying to do a good job, and we're trying to do a good job of trying to tell you guys what's going
I
on.
mean, what we're doing is doing what the movie's doing, but we try to polish it up for you. So give
My
us
God.
give us
Yeah,
some slack.
right. And Rayner, if I'm wrong, if you want to interrupt me anytime, let me know, guy.
I
Obviously.
got you.
So yeah, so he's telling Michael Keaton that like, yo, we need to find Superman because General Zod's here, and we need to like, do something about this. Like, we can't let this happen. And Michael Keaton he's basically like, why are we gonna go look for a Superman? And he's also explaining the universe, like, no, the way he broke it down, bro.
Yo, I was about to ask you, bro.
I think I think I think that was the best explanation
That shit.
from any movie that dealt with time travel. And I'm not even talking about superhero movies. Any movie that dealt with time travel, and when he had the bowl of pasta, and he's
That
like
shit was hard,
with
bro.
the sauce, that was
He
the
had the spaghetti. He had the two strands of spaghetti uncooked,
right.
and then he's just like, "Yo, this is what." And it's funny because it was like a little jab at Endgame because he said it specifically. He's like, "Yeah, you probably seen some things where they're like, when you go back and change something, it branches off a little bit." And he just did the little whoop,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
put it up, and he's like, "Nah, that's not what happened." And then he crosses them, and he's like, "This is the point that you're at now." But it just becomes something else. And then he broke it, but then he brought back the cooked bowl, and he's just like, these are all the universes. Sometimes they're parallel, sometimes they disconnect. And then he just threw the sauce all day. He's like, and this is the shit that you did, essentially. This is just the turmoil. Bro, that shit was
Yeah,
fire, bro.
that shit was so
That
dope,
shit
bro.
was fire, bro.
That shit was so dope, bro.
That shit was fire. Whoever did that, they got it, bro. That shit was
Like,
fire.
finally, something good in
They
the
spent too
fucking
much
movie,
time
bro.
on it. It was Bruce Wayne, like it was,
Yeah,
and it shows
everything.
too. It's just like, yo, he still got it type shit. Like even though he's
Mhm.
retired, it's just like, yo, he's fucking
His
smart.
mind, yeah, his mind
Yeah,
is still there.
simplify, and it was very like it reminded me of how he was in his movies because he was smart, but he was still like a little bit playful with his shit. And he's just
Right.
like this is what you're saying. It just gave me like this feeling, and then on top of that, it was just like a super cool concept how they did it. It was
Super
great.
cool.
It
And
was
that gets me to think. It's like, man, like we're having, especially within Marvel and now the DC universe, is like they're dealing with multiverses, different dimensions, different universes. And I'm thinking about the people that were responsible for figuring out a way to explain the universe timeline, but explain it in a way that the public can understand. I'm thinking about those people and the task that they had in order to find a way to explain it. I'm like, I wonder how they came to it. Like,
great.
is this something by mistake? Is it something that they saw with one of the Marvel movies and they were able to like just piggyback off it? But like, I don't know, man. That shit was brilliant to me, bro. I was like, wow, this is better than any Marvel explanation that I got. To me.
Because it was short and sweet, made sense, and I think they were able to use that. I think Marvel with Endgame did it in a way where they're like, we have to make it different,
Of
and that's what
course.
they did. It's like it branches off, it creates a new thing. Where on this one, they're like, no, like it doesn't create a new thing. You get here in this moment, and it just like it changes everything type shit. Like now you're here. That doesn't mean it changes your universe. This is a whole different thing that you're changing. Like it's just a different
Yeah.
axis. So I think they use that to their advantage. But maybe when the digital comes out on the commentary, they'll probably have some shits. Hopefully, I'll cross.
Hopefully. And
Yeah,
hopefully some dope deleted scenes.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so then Michael Keaton, he's not down to help him find Superman. So then the two Barrys, they go,
Pass.
what, man?
He was like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
now he's like, pass. He's like, no, I'm gonna pass the salt. He's like, he was gone, bro.
So then the two Barrys they go exploring the rest of the mansion, which leads them to the fucking Batcave. And then present Barry, he's using all of the technology from fucking Michael Keaton's Batcave to look up information about Superman to see if he can target him. And then that's where our Barry kind of has a real mature moment with the present Barry, if that makes any sense. And he's telling him, I forgot how it goes, but our Barry is basically like kind of talking down on present Barry, saying that like you don't appreciate this. It's
Yep.
like you don't realize what you have. You actually have your mom. I didn't have my mom. I'm trying to teach you how to do this, how to do that, and you're taking everything for granted. I forgot how they got to that point specifically, but it was a scene where I kind of gained respect. I gained respect for not Ezra, but I gained respect for his Flash
Yes, same.
because it was another moment of maturity and like, okay, this guy kind of realizes what's going on and how important it is what he's doing,
Mhm.
you know?
I agree. That scene was good. The only thing that like was taking me out was his voice.
Oh, his voice is fucking god awful, dog.
Yeah, his voice is like, but I didn't want that to take away from like his solid acting in that scene. But like you gotta
Right.
remember too, he's like, there's nothing there. He's talking to himself. So he has to shoot these scenes twice and shit
I
like
get what you're
that's
saying.
he put in work. So like watching it, I'm just like, all right, his voice is killing me, but like what he's doing right now is like this is actually like I gotta chalk it up. Like it was really good. And I think remember too, I don't know if this was before that scene. He was talking to Bruce and present Barry was under them. And that's how he heard what happened.
Oh, right,
How
right,
he
right.
heard. I don't remember if that was before he barked at him or after though.
Oh, I think it was after.
But
I
he
think it,
heard he was under. He heard why he came back. He's like explaining to Bruce like this is why I'm back here. I'm trying to like change things up, but I've messed things up now. I've got powers, this and that.
yeah.
But yeah, that was really cool.
I honestly don't really remember right after the scene that I just explained.
They go to the
Um,
shits. They
how we
this
got,
you see prime Batman. The man pulls up.
my God, bro.
Bro, I
That
needed
was
5 minutes of that just alone, bro.
just the suit alone, bro. The suit
Yo,
alone in action. I was like, I was like, holy shit, I'm
yo.
watching 89 Batman fight right now. Like, what the
Oh,
fuck?
it was actual combat too. That shit was not CGI. Like when he's like hand to hand, that was him. I don't know if it was Keaton. I don't think
Yeah, yeah,
so.
yeah, yeah. No, I
It
don't think it
was
was
the
Kane.
motherfucker. It was the motherfucker in the suit, and that shit just looked incredible. The suit looked functional. The suit looked really good. Speaking of suits, like when they showed all his bat suits, shit was sick. Shit
Yes,
was sick.
they showed a fucking boatload of different. They showed like a submarine Batman suit, a fucking atomic bomb Batman suit, like some
He had the gray
crazy
and
shit.
blue shit too.
All right.
The cut.
Yes.
Shit was sick, but like
Yo,
you said,
but
bro, the suit in action, bro. The way he
did
was the cape, just like, oh my god, bro. It's like when you throw those fucking paper planes, bro. That shit just dies and comes
you
back up. It goes around. I was like, yo, what the fuck is
Yo,
happening?
that scene was so interesting because you get the suit from 89 literally hand-to-hand combat, but watching it and it's in sort of present time, but there's like a little updates with the suit. Like he's able to the suit when he like spreads his wings, the suit the bullets that the guys are shooting at him, you find out that the cape is bulletproof.
Yep.
But dude, just seeing that suit in action, it made me think of like just how much we were fucking deprived of
And
after Batman Returns, bro. Like where it could have gone afterwards, bro. I mean, anyways, man, it was
shit,
so cool.
he was incredible. The shit he was doing, bro. Oh man, that shit was sick.
Fighting and
But
all that
this,
shit.
this this is like, yeah, bro. This is like I'm like, this is why I came to see this movie. But the
Facts.
reason I wanted to get into the trailer shit, what I mentioned earlier, they fucking showed damn near all his scenes in the
Crazy.
trailers.
I didn't watch any trailers, so thank God. And I want to thank you because I've been adopting your fucking method.
Good. I'm glad you did it. There was like a good amount of it they showed, but like there was extra shit that wasn't in the trailers. But I'm like, damn man, I shouldn't have watched this shit, man. But that's the shit that had me so amped too, because like it was so cool to see that shit, bro. It's like, well, we almost 30, no, more than 30 years.
89 is when the first one came out. 99, 2009, 2009. It's more than 30 years, yeah. It's like
And
33 years, some shit like that.
you going like when is in 6 years, that's 40 years ago, bro. And we seeing this shit is Michael Keaton, and he's using lines that he was saying in the movie. He's like, "You want to get nuts?"
Let's get nuts. Oh yeah, and he's also saying like, when he first appears as Batman, and then the two Barrys are like, "Wait, are you?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm Batman." That was pretty cool. Totally a side note, but you said something that kind of reminded me of something. The CGI. Did you hear that James Gunn, I think he was doing an interview and he was talking about the CGI with specifically Flash. And I think he was specifically talking about when Flash was in the Speed Force and why the CGI might have looked a little weird to the audience. So basically, he was saying that he wanted the CGI to look a little weird because he wanted it to be from the perspective of Flash, which I mean, I don't know if he's like just making that up to try and like cover his ass, but
Yeah, man.
yeah, I think
I
so
don't
too, bro.
remember if it was Gunn who said it, but I know what you're talking about.
Oh
And I
no,
was,
it wasn't Gunn. It was the fucking director. It was Andy Muschietti. It was the director.
I read bullshit with that too. I'm like, come on, bro.
I'm just trying to save your
You
ass
had
and
damn near $300 million, bro.
that movie.
Spent it
Yo.
on dumb CGI. It's okay. Like
What would you say? What would you say the percentage of CGI was the movie? Like 70%, 60?
the fucking damn near whole third act was fucking CGI. The
But
movie's 2 hours and 30 minutes.
dog, there's so many fighting scenes that need CGI. The beginning scene with the babies, the
Mhm.
Speed Force scenes. There's just honestly, I think it might be like 60, 70%,
I, w-
bro.
I would I would say 50, 60.
Listen, I don't want to like keep breaking down the scene by scene. Like go watch the movie. It's amazing. I mean, it's not amazing. It's a good movie. I think it's a good
It
movie.
is. It is a
It's
good
a good
movie.
movie. But this leads me to my point. Like knowing how the rest of the movie goes, just what were you like? Were you satisfied with the movie? Because me personally, I'm okay. Me personally, one, I'm satisfied with the movie, but I'm not sure how much that speaks to the movie itself because DC has done such a piss poor job of their movies that their bar is so low, right? Like a bad movie, a bad movie compared to the other DC movies might be a good movie because the other DC movies, to me personally, were fucking like, what are you doing? Like this is not good. So I was satisfied that the movie was decent at least. Now, the other side of me was disappointed because of what we were talking about in the beginning of the pod. Like the opportunities that this movie had in order to make an impact, in order to be a moment like No Way Home was with Michael Keaton, with resetting the DCU, with looking towards the future. Like they could have done so much to get the anticipation up and try to like get the audience more yeah, just looking forward to what's coming next. And yeah, man, I was one side was satisfied because it was a decent movie, and the other side I was like, this could have been so much more, bro. It could have been so much more. So, like, what about you? Like,
I,
how?
I think we can give it like the actual credit of it being a solid movie. I think it's a decent movie. I told a friend of mine, I was like, because I mentioned to her that Batman was in it, and she's like, "Wait, Batman's in it?" I was like, "Oh shit, you didn't know that? My bad." She's like, "Oh, I don't plan on watching it." I was like, like it's. I recommend watching it when like if it comes out on HBO, some shit like that. I think you should watch it. Like I think I enjoyed it. Obviously, you and I we really get in depth with our shit, so like we can really point out specifics and shit like that. But for me, the third act, which you're not gonna fully get into, didn't really do it for me. I like second act, I really enjoyed. The first act, I was like, okay.
Yeah,
Third act, I didn't really like. But all in all, it was a ride that I enjoyed pause. Like the movie was cool. Like, but to your point, there was so much that could have actually came out of it that we didn't get. That kind of makes you have that feeling of like, damn, I actually, is this actually a solid movie? But I think I can genuinely say that it is. Like, I enjoyed it. I didn't walk out of there like that was fucking garbage. Like,
And that's a win. That's a win for DC.
eh,
That's a win. You walking out of the theater and not saying that it's garbage is definitely a win for DC because the perception that DC has built is that like their movies are just not going to be good. And it's literally if you want to go and just like completely forget about what you're doing in life, just like go watch a bad DC movie and whatever. I mean, yeah, we're not really going to get into the third act. So just I want to know like out of the movie itself, what was the one thing that you can say that stuck out to you about the movie? Was it just how much CGI they used? Was it the missed opportunities? Was it the way they set up the future? Was it the post-credit scene? Was it like was it that was it someone's acting? What was it about the movie to you that stood out that really made that just like you're thinking about now?
um, Ezra Miller, the performance. Like I said, like it really made me enjoy their version of Flash a little bit more. Ezra Miller shows a little bit of range because they had to play two versions of themselves. We talked about that one scene where they kind of like had to really put the acting chops into play because it was a
Yeah.
mature, serious scene. But yeah, I think Ezra Miller really, really kept me engaged in that movie.
How do you feel? So how do you feel about the whole Ezra Miller thing? Because obviously before the movie came out, and but like we said in the beginning of the pod, Ezra Miller was doing some real weird shit that was
Yeah.
just causing a lot of controversy, which is one of the reasons why the movie was postponed and didn't come out. So what I'm asking you is, having known all of that, did that affect you watching his performance in the movie, or were you able to separate the two? You know what I'm saying?
No, like 'cause I didn't fully dive into like I knew that there was a lot going on with Ezra Miller. I heard read about some of it, but like I didn't deep dive too much into it. Um,
While it was going on?
yeah, like
Right, right,
they're not like a murderer. They're not out here like they did some weird stuff, like,
right.
but nothing that I'm like. And maybe this is just me without having full knowledge. Correct. I'm sorry if I offend anybody, but nothing that I'm like this motherfucker gots to go. Like it
Right,
is
right, right.
they did do enough to be like, no, you gotta go because they did some fucked up shit.
I
Like
get what
they
you're saying.
kidnapped somebody, they were hurting people, like violent shit like that. But you know, sometimes like it's human, bro. Like who knows what Ezra Miller's going through, what they've dealt with. Is anyone even trying to help them? All that shit. So like I kind of try to like separate like what the media is feeding a little bit and just
Yeah.
like look at them as a human, you know? And you don't do that for
So
everybody, right? Because there are some super beyond scum
yeah,
who live on the earth. But
unfortunately.
yeah, but like, you know, with that one, I'm just like, but also like it was kind of like there has been some time that's passed since that happened. So like it wasn't on my mind fresh anymore. Like it's still in my
Yeah.
mind, but it wasn't like super fresh. Um
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
there, but also like obviously like I know that it happened. So like going into it, I'm just like, oh look, like they're actually like I really enjoyed their performance.
Yeah, I mean, me
Outside of
personally,
Keaton for sure.
me personally, as far as Ezra Miller, I was like, yeah, okay, I know what happened with him, but as long and as far as the information that we're privy to, as long as like he wasn't like literally ending someone's life or like just doing some crazy, crazy shit,
Right, right.
then I would be able to separate the art from the artist. And like you said, there was some time from when we found out about what he was doing to the opening of this movie. There was like a few months in between, and we also heard that he was like really checking into therapy and all that stuff. So get your mental right, like get your shit together, and whatever, do what you got to do. We don't need to know all about that. So as far as Ezra Miller, like I'm cool with him, but I was never, even with Justice League, even with the Joss Whedon, the Zack Snyder Justice League, I was never like fully bought in with Ezra Miller as the Flash. And I'm not sure if that's the consensus because looking towards the future, I don't know. Nobody knows right now if Ezra Miller is going to return as the Flash.
I don't think so.
So are they going to recast it or what are they going to do? But the point I'm trying to make is that like I kind of don't care. And
Yep.
that's where I feel like they just lost a fucking opportunity, bro. This was such a missed opportunity on so many levels, dog. And I think the only reason why I'm not calling the movie garbage is because fucking Keaton, bro. Honestly. And I don't know what that speaks of about the movie.
Mhm.
Like Keaton reprising his role as Batman, yes, I like that, and I think he did a good job, but that shouldn't have been what I took away from the movie.
Is that really is the only thing that really made you like be like, this is a decent movie?
I mean, I appreciate what they went for as far as the story, as far as the Flash's maturity. I mean, Ezra Miller's performance was cool and he had moments, but as far as like the whole movie, it's not something where I can be like, man, that's one of the performances of all performances.
Oh
He had
no.
he had his moments, but like I just felt like it was there was a like I said in the beginning of the pot, there was just a lot going into the movie. There was just a lot going into the movie, and I was just really wondering like how are they gonna do this? How are they gonna do that? And I guess it just left a bad taste in my mouth, bro. Pause.
I think obviously all the things that have occurred with the company and the movies warrant those type of thoughts, but I think you can't fully put that on this one movie, right? Because it's obviously getting dismantled. They have a new head chief and all that.
But
Uh,
sorry to interrupt, but how do you not put it all on this movie when they made it perfectly clear that they're trying to use this movie as resetting everything?
mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think they kind of did that though. Like when you zoom out of the character, think about how in the end he's in a different universe, right? They showed us that there are different universes
Right.
of things that didn't even come out. They had Nicolas Cage Superman in there.
Did you see that documentary, bro? By
I
any chance? I think it's on Showtime, and they have like a full-length hour and a half documentary. Tim Burton, Nicolas Cage is fucking fire.
know about the doc. I didn't know it was on there. I'm gonna look.
I think it's on
I want
Showtime.
to watch.
That's where I saw it a while ago, so I'm not sure if it's there anymore, but
Look it
sorry.
up. No, no, it's cool. But yeah, like and they had the worlds colliding and all that shit. I think that was like kind of their way of like showing like, yo, we fucking everything up, but we're not gonna make our whole movie about that. We still want to tell the story of this character, but we're gonna still explain there are different universes, there are different timelines. All this shit is getting fucked up, and this is what's happening going forward.
I
Because even
feel
when you
you.
think about the Batman, like the Batman is in his own thing.
Thank
He's
God.
not blending in with them shits, you know. So
Thank
even
God.
that, like like it's. I think they addressed it, but they didn't put the weight of their movie on it, and I'm okay with that.
I feel you, man. But it's I also wanted to bring up the point of how much this movie had going against it. Okay, so I read an article on the Hollywood Reporter a few days ago. This movie has been through three different iterations.
Yeah,
So the first original iteration, it was under the regime of the studio president or the head of the president, which is Toby Emmerich, and also which is the Toby Emmerich and also the DC Films boss, Walter Hamada. That's the first iteration. Then the second iteration was when Discovery acquired Warner Brothers, which was last year. So they acquired Warner Brothers, and now the new head of Warner Brothers was Michael DeLuca and Pamela Abdi, and they were like the interim bosses while they figure the shit out. That's the second iteration. Now, the third iteration is when we all found out that James Gunn was going to be taking over the fucking DC films. And throughout those three different iterations, the ending, there's like certain scenes in the movie that are different. The post-credit scenes are different,
Yeah.
and the ending is different.
Yep.
And this is what I'm saying about like this movie had so much going against it. And then on top, yo, we didn't even bring up the fact that Michael Keaton shot a fucking Batgirl movie, dog, that got
Yeah.
scrapped. Like I'm gonna be honest, man. It's hard for me to ignore all of these different facts going into the movie, bro. Like I wish I was able to put it to the side, but like I couldn't. And I don't want to bash the movie. I'm not trying to bash it, but I should give it a little bit of shine, a little bit of a light because I did enjoy my time. But it's just something that was a missed opportunity, bro, and I can't harp on it enough.
Yeah. I mean, because initially too, like, remember Keaton was gonna be the new Batman.
Right.
He was gonna be the head honcho, the mentor, shit like that, which is why he ended up being a Batgirl. Like, I was looking forward to all that shit. So, like, I get what you're saying. And then when you watch the fucking movie and they just fucking kill him off
Him
because
and
in his universe he's supposed to die. I'm just like,
him and Supergirl.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
So
shit like that. Like, I'm just like bummed out about. But like, those are things like specifically with the movie, right? Because like you said, it did have a lot going against it. It went through so many changes because of the studio changes. Like, this is the only movie that went through all that shit.
I'm like you
Only
said,
one.
yeah, like you said in the beginning of the pod, like you're surprised that it even fucking came out.
Eh,
Surprised that it even came out.
it's the only one. The Aquaman ain't go through the shit. I don't think so.
I
Had
think
that
that's
Amber Heard shit. That was about it.
bruh.
And
I'm
then they
miss
got
me with
pushed
that.
back. They got pushed back, but like it didn't go through hell like this shit. So that's what I'm saying. Like it just wasn't fair to this movie for it to have all that shit stacked against it. Um, but I get what you're saying too. Like, there's no way for you to kind of block it out when there was excitement for it,
Yeah.
and then they created these expectations for it. But for me, I was on the opposite end of that spectrum where I'm just like, because of all that, I'm going in without expectations. Right? This movie went through so much that I'm just gonna go watch it and see what they did and what it is.
I feel you. So if you listen to this episode, there's a lot of obviously spoilers. So I'll put a fucking title or I'll put a parentheses in the beginning of the episode saying that spoilers ahead.
Obviously, we talking about the movie. There's gonna be spoilers, bruh.
I mean facts. So
Gotta know. You gotta know this. Come on, man.
don't complain. Okay, so
That's how
now
we've done this.
I wanna ask you, we're gonna it's still connected to DC, but it's a little bit separate. I wanna ask you about the state of Marvel because before this movie came out, I was talking to my brother and I'm like, yo, Flash has an opportunity to really, really reset things. Obviously, after watching the movie, I don't think they did a really good job. There's still too many questions, but whatever. Going into the movie, I'm like, DC has an opportunity to reset a lot of things. And this movie had a lot of attention going into it because of Ezra Miller and just the anticipation. But also, DC has a movie coming out in August, the Blue Beetle joint
Yes.
with the kid from Cobra Kai, which I'm a huge fan. Shout out Latinos everywhere. And if you take a look at if you take a look at the current state of DC and Marvel, DC had a perfect opportunity to pretty much pick up the mantle and pick up where Marvel left off because Marvel lately has been, to me, has been personally stale. And
Yeah.
we haven't really talked about Marvel. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 came out, I believe, last month.
I haven't seen it yet.
Why haven't you seen it?
I know. I know.
You just don't want to see it or what?
I want to. I want to. I just
Oh,
like when it
you've
came
been
out,
busy.
yeah, I didn't have time. And then I've been plotting to like actually go one of my days off, but I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it yet.
So, I mean, I just want to hear your takes and your thoughts about like just the current state of Marvel. Are you looking forward to the projects that they have coming out? Secret Invasion just came out today.
I think the word you use is like kind of perfect. Stale, you
Mm,
know? Like I'm just, oh, it came out, I'll get to it. Or Yeah, what came out? What's that about? Like, put me on because I might not watch that. Um, that's where I'm at. Guardians, I was very excited for, just like life timing. I didn't make time for it. Um, Secret Invasion, I'm looking forward to. Haven't watched it yet, but hopefully this really does something big. And sets up for what we know is coming in the future. Ant-Man, I went to see it. I just went to see it really because of Kang. He did his thing. The movie wasn't really good. What else did we have this year?
I think
Man,
this year it was just Ant-Man, I think, and Guardians of the Galaxy and
and
Secret
then we got
Invasion right now.
Invasion, and then Miss Marvels at the end of the year.
Miss me with that. I'm not watching that shit. Yeah. No, but this is another parallel that DC and Marvel kind of have is we were talking about a little offline before starting to record the pod. We were talking about Jonathan Majors and his character of Kang. Now we all know Jonathan Majors is in a lot of controversy right now. He's having problem with the law, and Marvel is kind of at a standstill right now because they put so much of their stock on this actor who, when they saw his performance as He Who Remains in Loki, they decided to completely switch up the future of Marvel and they're gonna put the fucking not the pressure, but they're gonna put a lot of what Marvel is trying to do on the shoulders of Jonathan Majors. And now it's kind of like, fuck, what are we gonna do? But this is the point I'm trying to get to. DC and Ezra Miller, that's literally kind of the same thing that DC and Ezra Miller were going through. DC was like, oh shit, Ezra Miller's in a bunch of controversy. Like, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna recast? Are we gonna wait it out? Are we gonna do this? Are we gonna do that? And Marvel is at the same point right now with Jonathan Majors. Now, DC decided to wait it out with Ezra. Me personally, I still want Jonathan Majors to get his bag and be able to use this as like another jumping point for his career. And I want Marvel to wait it out, but I just don't know what the situation is how it's gonna end.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
we were talking about it a little bit before we started recording, like you mentioned, and I think if they were like positioning themselves heavily in the direction of like moving on from him, we would have heard about it. There are people talking about it that they're thinking about it, but I haven't like fully committed to like believing that as a true statement more than just like potential thoughts because of what's going on that fans are just thinking. Because it's such a big studio and like with the internet, so much shit just comes out. Even if it's the littlest thing, it's like, yo, we heard from this person who knows this person that works with this person who works here. And then shit ends up being true.
yeah,
So I think they're waiting it out, man. Well, it's a domestic violence case. He's currently
right.
on his trial doing the court.
If you were Kevin Feige, what would you do? Not only with Jonathan Majors, but what would you do with Marvel as far as like trying to get back to the time of Avengers and like building the anticipation where people weren't annoyed that they had to watch this movie in order to keep up with that movie, in order to keep up with that movie. What would you do in order to get Marvel back in the game, bro? Because yeah, they're just at a stale, right? They're at a stalemate right now.
I think I would stop doing the shows. One, I think the shows,
All of
if
the shows, you would just stop all of them.
they're not an event, I'm not doing it. Like how they did She-Hulk, right? They did Miss Marvel, they did Falcon Winter Soldier. If they're not an event, like Secret Invasion, I'm expecting to be an event, I wouldn't do the show. Because you're telling a story, a comic book story, like it's a it's a line, right? That requires either a movie or some time, like a 6 episode show. But if it's like a character, I might just bring them in, right? Like pop them into the movie, give them some time, build them up with another character, or like have the story of the movie that they're in or event that they're in help develop the character.
Of course.
I think some characters don't need the full show because people can check out after the first episode. So now when this character comes out in a movie, nobody gives a fuck. They don't want to watch it. Or they're gonna wonder how the fuck did this character even get here? Oh, there's a show. Don't want to watch that. You know.
Yeah.
I'm a person who's big on movies. Like people recommend shows to me, and I'm like, maybe I'll get to it, or I'm never gonna watch that. Like I'll tell you straight up, because it's so much time invested. There's a lot of people who, like it became like the thing to catch up on all the Marvel movies a couple years ago.
Especially during the pandemic.
Yeah, and people were playing catch up, and then now people who are trying to play catch up or want to, they got to watch shows too. Or even the people that played catch up and caught up, they don't want to watch the shows. I'm invested. Like I've been since day one, so like I'm watching everything, even
Yeah.
if I'm not fully enjoying it. Um, but yeah, like that's I think that's the main thing that I would do.
Yeah,
Uh,
I would agree. I would agree with you. I would tone down the amount of fucking shows that they're putting out. And I'm happy to say that because Bob Iger, he was the president, he left, and now he's the president again of the Disney. I believe he put out a statement a while back saying that like, they're gonna dial it back with the amount of content they're gonna put up. And I think it was like they're putting out one, as far as Marvel itself, they're putting out one thing of Marvel, maybe like once every other month or something. But the thing is that like even if they dial back the content that they bring out, I still think they're gonna have a hard time to match the anticipation that Avengers Infinity War and Endgame had.
oh,
I
you
don't
can't
think it's
match
gonna
that.
happen. Yeah.
You can't match that unless you bring those fuckers back, like on Secret Wars or some shit, like people are saying or rumoring. It's not happening, bro. And
Oh, you
I'm okay with that.
you know what else that they need to do? They need to raise the stakes because in my opinion, they had a perfect opportunity to raise the stakes with Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. I really thought that they were gonna kill off Ant-Man. If they kill off Ant-Man, that raises the stakes. It's like, oh, okay, this guy was a big part of the Avengers in the first few phases or whatever. But so if they kill off one of the main characters, it's like, oh shit, this is a different ball game. Like this, first of all, the villain, we're gonna look at the villain completely different. And there was another opportunity, yeah, in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Fucking no, I can't say because you never watched it. Fuck. But they could have done something where they could have raised the stakes. They
Yeah.
could have done something.
I think
Because they're just doing more of the same. They're just developing the story, they're developing characters, and there's nothing really new that's being added to the pile.
I don't think they're at a place where killing off like a main character is gonna have value because we're far from an event. Avengers isn't till 2025, I think.
And now with Jonathan Majors, we don't know if that might be even pushed back.
Yeah, like we're far from an event, whereas they're still building story, right? Um, so then it's kind of gonna be like, oh yeah, that character died, but like they've we've already lost two of the main characters with Tony and Steve.
Cap, yeah.
And those like they Steve's was weird because it was kind of like behind the scenes, but like you knew he was gonna. Tony obviously happened during an event. They put all the stakes on it, and it meant something. So I think they're still building on that. Um, but I think it needs to be like very like specific. It needs to be an event. I don't think they'll kill off somebody in their own shit. But if they do, who knows? But it needs to be done well. Like they can't just do it. I don't think they want to do it just to kill people off. And I think that's something that we kind of ask for a lot. Like you got to kill somebody to fucking raise the stakes, or just fucking make your villain top tier, make him pop up everywhere and fuck shit up. Like that will be cool. Like have this motherfucker pop out everywhere and just fuck shit up.
Yeah, I feel you. I mean, when I say kill off a character, I obviously didn't mean like literally just kill him off. Like it has to make sense as well.
Yeah,
It has to
absolutely.
make it has to make sense as well when you're killing off a character. But I'm saying that that's the way Marvel should have went after the whole Avengers Infinity War and Endgame phase. They should have went that way where they should have known that they needed to raise the stakes. So let's put this character in a situation where it'll make sense if we lose him, we're gonna lose a big part of what the Avengers team of what if the Marvel is all about, something like that. I also wanted to ask you about Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, because
Mm.
we didn't really talk about that.
We didn't actually, yeah.
And see, this is it might be the perfect example of like how Marvel is at a standstill. Black Panther 1 was a fucking moment in human civilization, bro. In human civilization, bro.
I don't really like that movie, but
Oh, you're killing
but
me,
I see
dog.
what you're saying, and I'm not going to disagree with that.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So the first movie was a moment. The second movie, it had a really hard job because one, it had to live up to the it had to live up to the thing of part one. But another reason is because fucking Chadwick Boseman, R.I.P., he passed away in between the two movies coming out. Rest in peace. We miss you.
Facts.
But they within the movie, they're also trying to incorporate the fucking Ironheart character. And that's where I'm like, yo, this is not needed, bro.
But
To me.
she was always part of the plan though, because she worked with Chadwick. That's how they picked her. She
You
was
mean like
always
you mean the actor worked with Chadwick?
like when they casted her, she worked with him because she was always part of the plan.
So you didn't mind them trying to incorporate Ironheart into the story.
I think it started off well, but then they kind of just like brushed it off and then forced it back in. That I had a problem with.
Mm, yeah, I
Then
just want
Ironheart has a show coming out too.
why?
Right.
Why?
So yeah, like I didn't mind it. I just didn't like how they handled it fully because like I said, like it started off well. She was funny, she fit in to the story, but then they kind of just like put it to the side and then she just kind of popped back up again.
Yeah, man, it's just Marvel. Man, they
So they
just
did a really good job with that movie though. I liked it a lot.
yeah, I thought it was a good movie.
I think the third act again was like kind of fell off. The whole fight on the ship, it could have been better. Especially when the action throughout the movie was like,
I remember during the movie when it came out, like it was getting hate on the internet, like on Twitter and shit. People didn't like it, people were disappointed, but like I thought Ryan Coogler and the rest of his team did a good job just like making a sequel to a part one, like I said, which was like a moment in fucking history, especially with minorities and shit. So like it's
good
just
movie
like
though.
they had a lot going against them, and I think they actually pulled it off. And at the same time, they're trying to balance introducing a new character. They're trying to balance how are we going to continue the legacy of Chadwick Boseman and try and keep his character alive without him, obviously, because he passed away, which is the ending of that movie is fucking Chadwick's son,
Yeah,
um, childless son. We see he's going to be the next Black Panther, and I thought it was okay. So
I enjoyed it. I thought it was a cool movie. I think they did, like you said, I think they did a good job. They honored him well. They didn't force it in the
yeah,
movie. Like it came up in specific moments that mattered. It's a little long, but all in all, I think they did a good job. The cast was good. The villain was great. I like Namor a lot. I like his world. I just wish they would have kind of dove in a little more into his world.
mm.
Uh, but I get it. The movie was already fucking long. So, but yeah, I don't know though, man. Like I think they are in a weird space right now, and I think
Do you think
they were.
do you think they're in a weird space more because of it's been a lot of like people are just tired of Marvel, or do you think they're in a weird space because they're at a standstill with the whole Jonathan Major situation? Or it might be a combination of the both.
But I think the staleness came before the Jonathan Major situation. Like we're talking about
Facts.
the shows, right? We're talking about
Yeah,
everything post Endgame, right?
yeah.
Outside of No Way Home, which was a good time. Uh, yeah, like it's just not it's not hitting the same. I don't know. I think they probably just need to do a better job with the characters. Um, the stories need to be better.
How long do you think this is gonna go for? Like do you how long do you think Disney and the MCU is gonna go for? Like do you think this is literally gonna be going on until like when if we ever have kids, do you think we'll be taking our kids to the movie watching a continuation of the MCU?
For sure.
You think so?
Bro, they got their next they always 5, 10 years ahead, bro. always.
But how are they gonna get to that 10th year if in year two people you could see that people are fucking tired?
They're
And
gonna figure it out. They're gonna figure something out. Tell you that.
I guess
They're gonna figure something out. As long as that shit's making money, as long as some people like it, that shit's gonna keep coming.
unfortunately money does rule the fucking world. So yeah, man, I was just very interested to hear your take about Marvel and DC and how just Marvel what they're gonna do. And DC, like I don't, man, this is like a weird ending of a chapter, bro, because the way it started, which wasn't great, and then it had moments, or maybe just a singular moment, and then ending with the Flash when shit, I don't, that shit, that whole saga, bro, looking back on it is just so weird, bro.
Sometimes you just gotta move on from it, act like shit never happened. I think that's what they're doing, and I think there's no better way to have done it with the bad taste that it has left in the
Yeah,
audience. You don't want
yeah,
to like dwell on it too much. It's like, yo, that's out. We're in now. This is what it is, and I think that's what they're doing. So let's just see
yeah,
what they do. I think they already announced Superman. They announced Batman, Brave and the Bold, which I'm excited for because it's
yeah,
gonna have Bruce with his son. So like they're doing a lot of cool shit. We're still getting the Batman Part Two. So we're getting two Batman movies different. Like that's super exciting to me. You know, like this is top three heroes that we have ever had, and we're getting like two different versions of him. And you know, like that's shit to look forward to. So I just really hope that they continue to kind of build upon it. James Gunn is super talented. I like what he's done.
you got faith?
Yeah, for sure,
Mm.
for sure. I really enjoyed Suicide Squad. Peacemaker was great.
I never saw Peacemaker.
It's good.
I heard it's good, but yeah, I saw the Suicide Squad, which is the one he did. I
Yeah,
liked it. Um,
Peacemaker is good, man. They're doing the Penguin show, so they're doing shows too now. So I'm a little
but
worried there, but I know that their takes are going to be very different, and it's not going to be like cookie cutter. Like it's going to be like the shit is going to get violent. The shit is going to be nasty. It's going to
it's like
be to
dark.
the shits.
Yeah.
But also he's not limiting it, which is the coolest part.
Mm.
It's not going to be like, no, I'm doing Batman, so we're not doing Matt Reeves Batman no more. He's not limiting it. He has the branch off shit that they still want to do, and then he has the shit that's in the same world, which is kind of cool.
What's interesting with James Gunn is that he's doing Batman, like you said, The Brave and the Bold. He's doing Superman, A New Legacy, but then he has these like one-off shows that are completely like the superheroes that are like super lesser known.
Yeah.
I forgot what they were called, but it's like a group
I
of what happened?
forgot too,
Oh,
but
it's like a group. It's like a group of superheroes or bad villains, whatever. But he's making a show about them. He's giving fucking Viola Davis her character, her own show, which I forgot what her name was. Sorry, but
Amanda Waller, I think.
yeah. Amanda Waller. They're doing like a prequel TV show with the Amazonians from Wonder
Yep.
Woman. They're doing that. So he's doing a lot, man, and I appreciate what he's trying to do, what he's trying to build, and we'll see if he's able to do it, hopefully.
Yeah.
But my guy, yo, I want to say thank you so much for coming on this episode of the Time Flies podcast. For the listeners and viewers, go watch The Flash. We actually didn't spoil anything because we didn't really tell you how the ending went, but we did give you some breakdowns of the scenes of the movie. So go check it out. We do recommend you at
Something
least
from it.
checking
I
out.
suppose something from the third act. My bad, but it
You
was
didn't do
already
it on
kind of
purpose.
rumored. So
Thanks. But go
yeah.
check it out. Rayner, before we sign off, yo, do you want to shout out any of your socials to see if people can hit you up? If you want to, you don't have to, but
Man, follow Breeze Riches on Twitter, on Instagram, please. I'm back in the lab, so you're gonna see me
you back on Instagram?
gym. Yeah. I'm in there a little bit. I've been posting a little bit more on my story and stuff like that. I still don't really post on my profile, but I interact here and there. Twitter, I haven't been using as much still, but I'm on there. Dario knows I'll be on my Twitter shit.
You be
Breeze
creeping?
Riches on both. You can follow me.
You be
Uh,
creeping on Twitter, just going through the timeline but not posting anything?
yeah. It'll be some funny shit. It'll be some funny shit on there.
Yeah, my
I don't
God.
really have like a crowd anymore on there. I don't have like a community. That's why I really enjoy Twitter because I like you find a community of people that know each other and then you know them and y'all
Yeah.
just talk to each other, make jokes. Like there's really no community right now. It's like a lot of Elon Musk. You got to figure that shit out, man.
I was just gonna ask you, was it when Elon Musk took over?
Now that I think about it, kind of, but I don't know. It's still you still get a lot of jokes on there, but yeah,
Heard you.
probably a boy or don't. You can catch me on Time Flies anytime, baby.
Hey,
So
yo, Ray, I want to say again, I just want to say thank you for your time and energy.
you, man.
We'll definitely be hearing you soon. We'll be seeing you soon as well. As far as time flies, all the links will be down below for all the social media. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that like button. Also, subscribe to the channel. If you're listening to this on any of the podcast streaming platforms, please rate, review, and subscribe. That'll be a big help. But until next time, we'll check you out in the next episode of Time Flies Podcast. Peace, peace.